Alrighty. Hey everybody, it is P. Alexander from Cirsova here with Dan Wolfgang. Is that my music? Oh.
Okay, there we go.
Alright, well, we just recently closed submissions, finished our submissions period. We've just announced a bunch of stuff. Let me pause YouTube so I don't get the feedback and can talk to the chat. Well, the big things we have going on, this is the first official announcement of this. Cirsova Publishing will be putting out an anthology titled Dual Visions, featuring a number of horror stories by Misha Burnett and Luis Sorensen. You may recognize both of them as contributors to our past issues, particularly Misha, who's been with us since the very beginning, and was the concoctor of the Eldritch Earth setting, which we did a special for on our 5th issue. The plan is for this Dual Visions anthology to be released worldwide on February 14th. Put a little Valentine's horror show for you guys.
Fun. Now, Misha's a wonderful writer.
Oh, I
Louise
love Misha.
Too.
So far, of Luis's stuff, we've only had her Darla of Deodant stories, which are kind of... They're a little bit more cheeky and fun, especially for the Eldritch Earth setting, but I really enjoy those a lot. But these and this are a lot more... Do you remember any of those, like, 70s anthology horror movies, like Tales That Witness Madness?
I've seen Creepshow.
It's kind of like that. The anthology is a lot like that, and Luis has got some that definitely have that cool sort of 70s retro horror vibe to them. 70s awesome. British retro horror vibe. And you got a haunted ballerina statue in a mansion, that sort of thing.
Awesome.
Vampires that feed on junkies. And of course, with Misha, you got the high-octane nightmare fuel that's to be expected of his stuff.
Of course.
There's one really good one in there. I think it's a reprint. I can't remember where it was first published, but Blacklight Ballet, which it's not even a supernatural horror, it's just really creepy because it combines abandoned buildings, shopping malls, and clowns, so... and serial killers, but you know.
Of course. So what else? I know you have the Stark project you've been hyping up for a while. I want to really look forward to this.
Yeah, that one's gonna be in late spring, early summer. I'm looking at April 30th for the first soft cover and the omnibus on that.
Are you still planning on crowdfunding that?
No, I've given up on crowdfunding. Not just because a lot of the crowdfunding sites are just being absolute reprobates in the online community, but because the way that Amazon has changed its POD fulfillment system when they got rid of CreateSpace, it makes it so much harder to fill individual delivery orders to fulfillment. Because Because when we were doing the subscriber thing, we weren't doing what would have been good, which would have been an import upload where we have everybody's addresses, information, and just send in a spreadsheet with all that. And instead we were having to type everybody's info in by hand for each order. And once we were getting up to like 150 physical orders, and then Amazon changed their process to add another 3-4 steps to the order process, including retyping my credit card every single order. It was just like, nah, I can't do it like this anymore. So we're still looking at other options, but we don't actually need to crowdfund because everything's paid for. Everything's done and paid for. It's in the can.
It's kind of a shame because getting the EPUB and Mobi files by you was really convenient.
Yeah.
Lately I've been using an Android app that just lets me read the books. I don't gotta download them through Amazon or anything. That's so much better than the actual Kindle app.
Well, because we're switching over to Ingram Spark for all of our production and distribution, and they distribute ebook files through a much wider range of platforms than just the Amazon, so you might have some more options there this time.
That's good.
In fact, let me look. The ebook of Dual Visions may actually be available for pre-order in some places.
You said that one was coming out in February.
Yep, February 14th.
Alright.
So far, the one that I know about is Glow's. We haven't gotten all the links together because we haven't officially announced it yet, and this is the first time I'm really talking about it publicly, but it'll be out in multiple formats, multiple platforms, and we're going to see how this Ingram Spark thing works out.
Awesome. I hope it works out well for you. Let's see, is there anything else? I think there was one more.
Well, of course, the big thing is we've got a previously unpublished, previously lost Tarzan story by Edgar Rice Burroughs that will be coming out in the spring issue. Entitled Tarzan and the Mysterious She.
Yeah, that's kind of... How did you land that deal?
This is a really cool story, because I've been getting to be pretty good friends with Michael Turney. He is the local comic shop owner here in Little Rock. He is a huge fan of Edgar Rice Burroughs, a collector of many of his publications. Okay. And he was, among other things, he has recently published a 4-volume, 1,200-page hardbound anthology on the art and illustrations of Edgar Rice Burroughs stories, from the first stuff in Argosy all the way up to the comics of just a couple of years ago. And so this thing is huge, and he worked hand in hand with the Burroughs estate and Schnall and Gray Publishing to get that put together. But he's been friends with the estate for years, and was good friends with Danton Burroughs. And one second.
Okay, looks like we're having a bit of an interruption on Alex's side.
The interruption is I had to say goodbye to my sexy goth girlfriend.
Well, that's a good interruption to have.
Yeah.
Anyway, you're saying?
Well, anyway, years ago, apparently, Danton Burroughs found this fragment and had shown it to Michael. And one of the reasons why this fragment had never been completed is because it had created kind of a continuity snarl where if the events of this story happened, then it would make some other things that were written, you know, kind of a lie. But it's also sort of sets up a mystery. And Michael figured out a way to actually address and resolve this mystery without screwing up the Tarzan canon. So he'd had this, he'd kind of been sitting on it for years, but then, of course, Danton Burrow passed away. There was the fire that destroyed a bunch of stuff at his home, a lot of manuscripts and memorabilia, and apparently this is one of the stories that was lost. The estate didn't have any knowledge of it, and it would have been gone if Danton hadn't given a copy to Michael.
Wow.
And so we end up with this just really cool original Tarzan story from Tarzan's Youth that Michael finished that would have been gone if he had not had his hands on it. And we're getting it published in the spring.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. And we've got our artist, Anton Oxen, putting together a cover for it. It's looking really good. So it's going to be something collectors are going to want to get their hands on. The first new Edgar Rice Burroughs Tarzan story. And who knows how long, with all new original artwork.
I've asked this before a couple times. What are your plans to get this in front of the Tarzan audience, or fandom, whatever you want to call it?
Well, of course, Michael has a bunch of connections, but I'm going to be hitting up Edgar Rice Burroughs fan groups, news groups, zines. There's the ERB zine that keeps up on all things Burroughs, and I'm sure they're going to want to hear about this. And I'm sure that there are other sites out there who are probably going to be interested when we send the announcement around. One of the things that we're kind of waiting on doing is getting the art for it done, but it's almost done. And once we get that, we can be like, look, we got a story, look at this cool picture of Tarzan and a ghost lady. It's going to be awesome.
Okay. Yeah, it's funny, the way that I first heard about Edgar Rice Burroughs ever was this old blog that I used to read all the time called The Topless Robot. It was sort of a...
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard him. It's sort of... Oh, it is too loud. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, they were kind of a IO9 type site.
Well, that's the funny thing. The guy who ran it, he now works for Gizmodo IO9.
Figures.
Yeah. Oop, I did not want to do that. Crap. Here, say something again. I may have screwed the audio. Hello, you there?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, there we go. Now the game audio is nice and quiet.
Yep. So, February, Misha Burnett, Louise Sorensen. March, Edgar Rice Burroughs. April, Lee Brackett. Gonna be a huge spring.
Yep.
And one of the other things that we're doing a little bit different is we ended up just, again, with so many good stories. We opted to do a summer special that's going to focus on some of the longer stuff. Because in the past, we would get maybe one or two novelettes or novellas, but you'd have to kind of build an issue around those based on how much space they took up. But
yeah.
We got so many good submissions that were over 10,000 words that I was just like, you know, I don't want to say no to some of these stories because
Yeah,
they
yeah.
are fantastic. So we ended up doing 3 issues technically, but we're not numbering the summer one. It's just going to be Cirsova Presents. Kind of like what we did with Wild Stars, only we're doing it a different deal. It's not going to be a one-off where you got to buy it then and there, or you'll never buy it again. The way Wild Stars was, we'll be keeping this one in print. We're just doing a different numbering, maybe a different format for it.
Alright, that sounds good. Okay, so what else do you want to talk about?
Oh man, you want to talk comics?
Oh gosh, I haven't read.
Comics
I barely read comics these days, actually. I'm trying to think what the last one I read was. It might have been the Batman, that one issue, that one's Batman trade that takes place after year 1. I don't even remember the name of it though. It wasn't as good as year 1 though.
Was it year 2?
Trying to remember. It was about how it was like another oh yeah, it was a Joker origin story.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Wasn't Killing Joke, was it?
No, not Killing Joke. A different one.
Similar to Joker origin story.
It was a similar one to Killing Joke. Like he still falls into the acid, I think.
Yeah.
I think Red Hood was in it as well. I don't know, what comics have you read lately?
Well, I've been kind of nursing Outsiders Volume 2 lately, because I'm like, oh, this has been so good, and I don't want it to wrap up. I liked that, it did a lot better job of telling a serial story, as opposed to some of the cheesy Villain of the Weeks that it did in its original run. But it's also one of the shortest runs of it, so it's like, I don't want it to end. But apparently Mike Barr is writing one of the Suicide Squad Gaiden titles right now. So he, of course, is the creator of Outsiders and the character Katana, who's one of my favorites in the DC universe, even though they screwed up her costume and stuck her with the wrong team.
Yeah. Paul Lucas says, the Joker is best with no backstory. Agreed.
Yeah, anytime that you try to give the Joker a backstory, it's a mess. Probably the worst, of course, was the original Batman movie, Tim Burton one, where it's like, oh hey, we'll make Joe Chill and the Joker the same guy.
I couldn't finish that one. It was the guy they cast as Bruce Wayne just didn't look like him, and it was too weird.
I get that. I actually kind of liked him as Bruce Wayne, but that's just me. I think it's because, like, you know, he's got the crazy eyebrows thing, so like even when he's trying to be a suave playboy, you know this guy's actually just, you know, crazy.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And I feel like that's the way Keaton is in a lot of his movies. He just looks a little bit crazy. But the other comics I've been reading, I've been following that Batman Kings of Fear. That one's been fun because it's been a throwback to a 90s Batman, that his solution to things is punching people, and he believes that, you know, the system that tells him he should not be punching people is the problem.
Fun.
Like, I think it's the first issue. It's the old trope with the lady doctor at Arkham. Like, you can't solve people's problems just by punching them. It's like, but I just did. And so it was good to read some Batman that actually felt like Batman after
After
finally stopped lying to myself that Tom King was good, because he's not.
How is the Tom King Batman anyway? I was tempted to read that one after you started tweeting about it, but I never got around to it because it was that one was two issues a month, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So that one,
and it was okay when it was $3, and even if it had taken a downturn and stayed $3 an issue, I might have stuck with it. But $4 for something that I was iffy on was, I don't know. Just part of me, I was really enjoying the kind of cozy approach to Batman, where it's like showing Batman hanging out, his friends, his intimate life. But I think part of it, just even beyond the whole Bat Trail, where the wedding didn't happen, Ganon, or however you pronounce his name, like, that art is so ugly, where it's just, clearly they go into the software with the posing software and just put the trace models up, and just, they look so, I don't know, they just look so bad and samey.
Yeah, I gotcha.
I've also been following the Walmart Giants. Some of those have been good, or at least the Titans one has been good. Batman one has been hit or miss. And
what are the Walmart Giants?
They are anthologies that are serializing 3 old ongoings and with one short new series at the front of each. So it's about 100 pages, $5, so it's a pretty good value. And the fact that it's a good value is kind of what's shooting DC in the foot on some of its other stuff. It's like, okay, you got this new special that's 80 pages and you're charging $9 for it, but you got a 100-page comic at Walmart for $5. That's better than whatever you put out now.
Yeah, I can see that be an issue.
Yeah. It was really noticeable with their Halloween one, because the Cursed Comics Cavalcade, it was okay, but it wasn't $9 okay. Whereas the Halloween reprint that had 100 pages and got to choose from all the old classic Halloween and horror stories was really good.
So is that all for comics you've read?
Pretty much, at least for the Western stuff. It's been a while since I've been reading any new manga.
Okay, well, how is, what was it, the Churchill's History of English-Speaking Peoples, I think it was called?
Oh, it's been good. It's been a really enjoyable history. Reading it has given me a lot of insight into the context of certain aspects of American history that never really get touched on in school. All the well, one of the things that they always kind of teach you is that, the Pilgrims were escaping religious persecution, whereas they were actually escaping cultural assimilation in the Netherlands. They didn't want their kids growing up Dutch.
Oh, okay. I thought it was due to the Church of England was persecuting them for religious nonconformity.
Well, yeah, there was that, but they had already found asylum in the Netherlands, but they didn't want their children growing up in a different culture. They wanted to be able to raise their children in their own culture without having to worry about them picking up the other aspect of the Dutch Protestant culture. So they got permission from the king, who was oppressing them, and the king said, "Here, have this charter."
That's very interesting, because both my ancestors on both sides of my family came over on the Mayflower, so they could very well.
Yeah, and of course, not everybody who came over on the Mayflower was escaping for religious persecution.
Yeah.
You know, you basically had to get a Groupon to charter a ship across the sea, and he didn't always have enough people.
Yeah. So, how far are you into the book?
I'm.
Well, I know
almost,
yeah. it's multiple volumes.
Yeah, I'm almost done. I'm in the last volume. He's just about getting up to the American Civil War and the causes of that.
Okay, is that... How did you come across this book? Are you reading it from the public domain, or did you find a copy somewhere?
I actually managed to find a copy somewhere. Some guy was doing one of those sort of in-house flea market things. It wasn't exactly a yard sale, because it was clearly the guy had his house set up to be like a flea market, but...
Yeah. So like a garage sale?
But he had a copy that was really, really nice shape, one of the 4-volume box sets for like $20, and I'm like, that's a hell of a deal, so I snagged it.
Oh, definitely.
It had been sitting on my shelf for a few years. I just hadn't had a chance to get to it with all the other stuff I've got going on to read, but it's...
Yeah.
been a very fascinating and rewarding experience.
Is this the book that gave you the ideas about neo-monarchism that you mentioned before in that one Twitter thread?
To an extent, it's given me some ideas and just refining thoughts on it. I mean, my own beliefs on monarchism, I'm not really into monarchism, but I appreciate the usefulness of feudalism.
Yeah.
And I think where I differ with a lot of internet monarchists is, you know, a lot of internet monarchists are just like, wouldn't it be great to have a royal family? Whereas I'm like, I'm not really into the hereditary monarchy thing.
Yeah, that's... But... I mean, if you look at how the city of Jerusalem, or no, the Kingdom of Jerusalem, I'm sorry, the way that they dealt with that led to a bunch of one of the reasons that why the Kingdom of Jerusalem collapsed and was taken over by Islam again was because they ended up having like a bunch of child kings. I think one of them was 9. I can't remember their names off the top of my head though. But yeah.
Yeah, whereas, you know, the system of judges was kind of fascinating to me, where it's quasi-theocratic feudal. Like, I mean, it's almost entirely theocratic, but it's quasi-feudal, where it's a selected, probably based on responsibility criteria. Of course, you have the anointing, and some are anointed at birth, but they're prepared for the role, which I guess in some ways is kind of like monarchy, but it's I don't know. I'm talking out of my ass on this. A lot of the system of the judges and how they worked is a little bit vague from my own reading. But
yeah, I don't know as much about the judges. I know I was reading an article by Julius Evola, basically his thoughts on monarchism, and he argued that constitutional monarchism isn't a true monarchism because it's not a king, a king with divine rights. It's a king that is I'm trying to remember his words. It was then the king is now, he has to, the people are his responsibility, that he has to Dang it, what's the word? Like in an absolute monarchy, the people are his responsibility to God, versus in a constitutional monarchy where you're elected, now you are responsible to the people rather than the other way around. If that makes any sense. I'm doing a bad job of explaining it though.
Yeah. Well, and there's naturally that responsibility and obligation in place in the feudal system. Just, I think there's a little bit more flexibility in what you could do with a feudal society as opposed to a divine right monarchy.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know if you saw my shit post from the other day with the Black Panther and Wakanda.
I think I missed that one. What was it?
Let me shoot it to you here right quick. You might get a kick out of it.
Sure, I'll
like
open
perhaps you're ready to get woke to anarcho-feudalism, my brother. It'll be easy to find since I didn't post anything yesterday because I was dead. Yeah, if anybody was worried about me from yesterday because I wasn't shit posting, I threw my back out. You know, when you throw your back out and can't stand or sit, you can't really shit post, so. But, here we go. I'm copying you on this. Okay. Now, a couple other things that I have been working on. Oh yeah. Oh God.
Uh-oh, I just thought, I don't know if the stream picked up that because I was using the wrong push-to-talk button.
Yeah.
Oh well, you can, if you link it here, I can probably drop it in the chat, I guess. Sorry, guys.
Yep.
Oh well, whatever. That's interesting though. A while back I had an idea for how you could sell. Yeah, because the game window wasn't in focus. A while back I had an idea on how you could sell libertarianism to I guess a wider audience, however you want to put it, like to make it more palatable without cucking it, you know? Basically just sell it as we're going to go back to the values of the Old West, the Wild West, you know?
Yeah.
In a way that would... Sorry?
And one thing about the Wild West is that what people think of as the Wild West, it's a meme that was started in the mid-20th century, really, because there was apparently not that many violent shooting deaths out in the Wild West. Crime was not that bad, and because everyone was armed, if you were planning on doing some shooting, there were plenty of other people there to shoot you dead. But instead of everybody shooting each other the way it's portrayed in the movies and in television, there just really wasn't that much violent crime. It's just people think that way because every single Western you see has got to have a shootout.
Yeah.
Well, because Westerns were the dominant media, all you saw were shootouts in the Old West.
Well, yeah, because it's more entertaining. But then people get this idea that that's how it really is, and then, yeah. But yeah, it occurred to me just now that it is similar to what you're proposing, in that, like, my idea is every town would have, a sheriff. He'd be the one who handles trade disputes, business disputes, or any kind of theft or what have you. But if the sheriff turns corrupt, well, then you just go and shoot him.
Yeah, there's somebody who could step up and take his place, or you'd have the ability to leave. I mean, honestly, some people have heard me say this before, but one of the things that got me fascinated with the concept of anarcho-feudalism was the movie The Man from Snowy River, because that shows all the different facets of that kind of society. You have the lord who owns the land and the property and has people riding under him, and if you can't be him, you can ride under him. You can be one of his horsemen riding for him, and he's able to provide for you because you're working on his land. But then you also have the option, of course, to still ride for yourself and be independent. You don't have the protections that you would working under the lord, but you would have the ability to become your own lord, and at some point maybe even have people under you.
Yeah.
So to really have it work, you have to have that freedom of movement, the ability to choose what feudal relationships you engage in. And in a way, we kind of have that today with employment and employers. It's all voluntary exchanges. The employer has their work at their building. You go to their building. You go to their fields and work for them. They give to you.
Yeah, and if you don't like the way that they run things, you can quit and get another job.
Yeah. And of course, it's one of those things that works and is more practical on a smaller scale. Everybody is always like, well, think local. Well, this is local politics.
Yeah, and my neck of the woods, a lot of the small businesses have been drying up because no one's shopping at them anymore. Because, hey, the local Stewart's is a little bit cheaper, guys. Let's all go there.
Yeah.
Plus, taxes are pretty high here for... I don't know how much it costs to operate a business, because I haven't really looked into that, but I imagine it's more than in other parts of the country.
Yeah, it really just depends on what you're doing, what sort of space you have, what kind of business you're running. I managed to do things when I was setting up Cirsova as a publisher that there are certain tax encumbrances that I don't have to deal with, but they're are for various other weird reasons ones that I do. Like, the business does not own any property yet. I still have to file property taxes for it and pay some stupid bare minimum fee. But I don't have any taxes on my inventory because as a POD outfit, I don't officially maintain any inventories.
Yeah, that inventory tax really screwed over the publishing industry, especially the mid-listers.
Yeah. I mean, just in my own experience, having stock of anything on hand, once you have it, you're not going to move it. And you eventually just don't want to have those boxes around the house, you know. I've got a couple boxes of CDs and records still from back when I was in, when I still had a record label, and those, sometimes I'm just like, I just want to take this whole thing to the Goodwill and just dump it off.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Let somebody else deal with it. And
yeah,
so after the first convention that Cirsova did, that I only sold a few magazines, and I still have several boxes of Volume 1. I'm like, not doing that again. I'll have maybe 5 copies of each issue to sell. And that's if I go to a con. Right now, anybody local who wants to buy copies and doesn't want to get them through Amazon, tell them go see Michael. Comic book store in Little Rock, collector's edition comic in North Little Rock. He's got them on the shelves. You can buy them right there.
Oh, nice. How do you get that deal?
Well, like I said, Michael is one of our contributors.
Ah, okay. And I died.
Oh, no. He's the guy we got that Burroughs deal with, so knowing him has been quite the boon.
Hold on, sorry, I got a message somewhere, but then it was just saying in Fukno State.
Alright.
Let's see, so you want to keep talking about feudalism then?
Yeah, sure. Sure.
Okay,
and on my end, a lot of it is more theorizing and speculating.
Yeah.
I'm not somebody who's like, we need feudalism now.
Well, yeah, of course.
Radical changes now. I'm like,
yeah,
this is actually an interesting political economic system and has its advantages that many people may not know about.
Yeah, exactly. A while back, I kind of realized, like, if I sat here, started ranting to you about flat Earth theory or something, or global cooling, and wrote blog posts about it, made some more YouTube videos, no one's gonna watch them, no one's gonna read them. I'm not gonna change anything really. I probably won't even change that many people's opinions. So I should just have fun with it, you know? Think of it more like a game. I mean, sure, there are times when we have changed public opinion, but it isn't... I'm not going to convince someone that we absolutely right now need to live on the Discworld or something.
Yeah.
Furry Flat Earthers 2018.
And I think that that's something that a lot of people maybe don't realize, is that you persuade people slowly and generally by being fun, not shouting in their face and being like, we need to do this way now.
Yeah.
Like, no, just, you know, like, maybe do some of the Billy Mays slices and dices, but
well, the biggest thing for me is just not letting it upset me, you know? Like, yes, there are people out there who very much disagree with me on anything, really, any kind of political theory, and I need to accept that and not let it worry me, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel bad for, like, all the people who can't handle that, you know?
Yeah, well, For a lot of people, I think there is an integration of politics into identity to such a point where any challenging of those beliefs is just such a challenge to the core of who they are that they can't deal with it. It shuts them down. Whereas, at one point I may have considered myself a libertarian, but then, I saw enough dude-weed libertarians and lolbertarianism that it changed my mind.
Yeah, gotcha. Let's be honest, libertarian socialism is the stupidest thing. It's like... I mean... Yeah, if you have the kind of controls to have socialism on your economy, then it's not libertarian anymore. It's just you live in a socialist state that allows you to have certain freedoms.
Yeah, and it's one of the things that kind of pulled me out of the whole punk rock thing was I finally got tired of the whole, look man, you kids are shouting about how much you want anarchy, but you're supporting clownish statists. You just want to be able to break things and not get in trouble.
Yeah, that's gotten way worse now. Have you seen that one Stone Toss comic where it's on one side it's the fascist and the ANCAP pulling the rope, on the other side it's the communist and the monopoly guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a reason why that one resonated with so many people. It's like there's a certain segment of the population that is just, they've decided that the way that they're going to... Hey, Coda. They've decided the way that they're going to get their particular freedoms and securities is by sucking corporate dick.
Yeah.
Okay, did you get all the scripts and whatnot working?
I thought I did, but no. But it's working well enough for now, so we can leave it. For right now, that is. We're live, by the way.
This is getting annoying because things work for one day and then they stop working for the next.
Well, we'll worry about it after the stream's over.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, we're live, by the way, Coda.
Oh, didn't know that you was actually live.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, you're fine. Well, I did make the streaming room for a reason.
Yep. Everyone, this is Coda, by the way. He runs the place here. Anyway,
Well, I tried to.
So where were we?
I'm not sure, but to answer Vyric down there in chat, I'm definitely not advocating for the sort of serfdom that people think of, like in medieval times, people like out in the fields, like just working in the shit. More like a voluntary employment contract with various other segments, tenants.
Okay, Misha says that this is making me seasick. I think he's talking about the game.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. All right, I'll keep going.
And
then.
what game are you playing?
Doom.
How's... What?
We're streaming.
No, more of... They said that... You said you're playing Doom. They're saying they're getting seasick from the game.
No, I understand. It's probably because it's first person.
Unless you're playing Pirate Doom.
Nah, not Pirate Doom. But anyway, oh, yeah, well, maybe I can fix that. Hold on.
Yeah, you can turn off the head bob.
See if I can remember where it is. Probably in display.
Yep, maybe I finally got all the errors now worked out with my game.
There we go. Hey, now it feels like I'm playing as a ghost, but whatever. Okay, it's because it is first person. But hopefully this will be more pleasant, I guess. If not, I can switch it back. Anyway, you were saying, Cirsova?
Oh yeah, just like definitely not advocating medieval style surfism.
So what, you're saying you don't want people to go back to apprenticeships?
No.
So what would that entail, though?
Well, like I said, it's not something that I've thought out and fleshed out completely, but it's more like less like the company town, but in some ways a little bit similar, where you can work. You can choose your lord to work for, and the lord will be accountable to you. You'll be accountable to the lord till you voluntarily terminate that relationship. The ability to voluntarily terminate any sort of economic relationship would be essential to any sort of solution that I would be okay with.
Yeah, of course.
But would the Lord actually allow you to terminate your contract with him?
Misha says, a good start would be to remove some of the artificial barriers to creating new businesses.
Yeah, that would definitely be it, because like I said, the three sides to it, the way I put it is, you can be the king, you can ride for the king, or you can ride for yourself. So you should be able to ride for yourself to be able to become...
Ride for yourself to be your own king, the king of your own man.
Yes.
Because every man is a king of his own castle. Until he has to pay taxes.
Yep.
Well, I mean, you have to rely on the honesty of lords in any situation, in any circumstances of governance. I mean, even the ancient Greek democracies, it was a clusterfuck because of the demagogues.
Plus, in any system, like, well, there's one of my earlier criticisms for the feudal system was that, well, what if someone just comes and kills the king? But, well, that's a problem in any government, you know? There's really nothing technically stopping someone from killing the president, you know? I mean, there's the Secret Service, but...
there's the continuance of government that's put in place to handle situations like that.
Yeah.
And so, like, of course, that's part of the Wakanda joke, is that, like, you don't like the king, you challenge him, throw him off a waterfall.
Yep.
Maybe not the best means of selecting a new ruler, but open and democratic elections tend to produce just as crappy results.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So what you're saying is we can't go World of Warcraft orc style and just go muckroll on everyone, huh?
Well, the problem is there's too many everyones now, you would not be able to take everybody out.
Misha said...
apparently you seem to have caught my reference. I'm used to most of everyone not knowing anything about Warcraft for me.
Yeah, and what Misha says there, that's also part of the whole concept of the feudal obligation.
Yeah, Misha says, a lord who relies on the populace to protect him is much more accountable to the people. Yeah.
And so I think there's definitely the need for a sort of balance, and the ability for those under a leader to find and seek out new, more favorable relationships puts pressure on the Lord to maintain optimal circumstance, which is why I sort of say that the system we have now with people who work for their employers is its own kind of feudal system.
Yeah. So what do we need the government for, then?
Well, essentially, it comes down to people want layers of accountability, and the government, as we have, adds a top layer of accountability for people to appeal to. But the problem is the more layers of accountability that there are for people to appeal to, the more arbitrary power that those higher up are able to wield against those further towards the bottom.
Yeah. And in theory, it does protect the people from corporations and companies that do things that are very clearly morally wrong. But in practice, they're not very good at actually enforcing the laws that we already have on the books.
Yeah, there's a lot of picking and choosing.
Yeah, that's kind of one of my problems with giving the government even more power. It's like, well, what have they done with the power we've already given them? Like, they already have the power to I'm trying to think what was... Like, there's plenty of stuff that they already have the power to do, but they haven't done it yet. I'm trying to think, there was something... Sorry, you were going to say?
Yeah, just like Misha's pointing out down there in the chat, how one of the things that gave the king in England a lot of power early on, when the British monarchy was becoming really strong, was the ability to appoint judges. So when you appealed any legal decision, you weren't appealing to any local authorities, but you were appealing to a more powerful authority who had the power to step in and squash whoever you were appealing against. And so,
yeah,
by putting the king and his judges at the top of that hierarchy, that gave them a lot more power.
Yep. Yeah, lately I've kind of realized the democratic system has kind of created perverse incentives for how we appoint our leaders.
Yeah.
Who gets to be our leaders, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then and this is another point Evola had, I think, was if you're electing your government, well then anything stupid or wrong they do is your fault. It's like, hey, you voted for them. And it's true. It's like we have a government that is they're not doing the will of the people, but then, hey, you voted for them. They're not stopping the companies from doing things that are very clearly wrong, and they're not allowing the small businesses that won't be doing these bad things to flourish. And again, hey, it's your fault because you voted for them, guys. The one thing I've kind of wondered is how many people actually do vote. Like, I know you can't really know that. At least you can't know if the guy sitting next to you voted or not, and who they voted for.
Yeah. Really, all you can do is...
You're forgetting the other important point, Ring. That is, even if they don't vote for them, it's still their fault because they decide not to vote. Therefore, it's your vote that this person gets elected, or it's still your fault because you didn't encourage other people to also vote for this good person that they should have been elected instead.
Voting also allows collective blame to be spread incredibly thin.
Yeah. Another thing is that I realize the democratic system is kind of why everything is so politicized these days. Like, if everyone has a say in government and everyone is politically active, which is that's the real
and
definition of a
becomes everyone's fault.
well, that's the real definition of a democracy is where everyone is politically active. But then, if everyone's politically active, then that means that it matters very much what Joe Schmo thinks, even though he's in the privacy of his own home, not hurting anyone. So if
not hurting anyone, it's like your vote. You did this to me.
Yeah, exactly. And then, so if you got someone who's sitting in the privacy of his own home who disagrees with you politically, then that's you can't just disagree with him.
And so like, if somebody has some medical issue and they feel like Obamacare was a savior to them because it just happened to work out really well for them, then the opposition to Obamacare on any economic, political, or moral reasons becomes an attack on them personally. Like, you would have denied me this, you want me dead.
Yeah, and then getting into Obamacare, they can't even conceive of the idea that someone might help them through like a private charity.
Yeah.
Well,
the problem with going with that, Rain, is that a majority of the private charities actually don't end up going to the common person.
Yeah, they're just tax havens, basically. I mean, there are some, like the QQ tells me the Billy Graham Foundation is really good, but I think that one's mostly... I don't know how much of the money you donate to that goes domestically. I think it's mostly for overseas missions.
Yeah. Well, like, I know my dad...
You know, sure, it's all fine, and since the majority of them is also mainly for children, but there's also a lot of adults who can't afford taking care of themselves. And they're expected to still pay for their own, even if they have no job.
Yeah, that's why I kind of realized a while ago that if we're gonna dismantle the welfare system, we need to have some charity reform first.
Now, before you say... No.
Oh, what's going on?
Stream.
Oh boy.
Oh. Where?
I was saying it right now. You're streaming.
Yeah, why do you think we're in this room?
Now, why are you streaming anyway, Dan?
Some rando in here, and you didn't want me to be snooping in on what he was saying.
Please be patient, guys.
Anyway?
Huh?
Where are you streaming to anyway?
YouTube. But yeah, please be patient. Patient, guys. Templar here has autism.
Wow, just throw me under the bus. You.
Well, your first
Templar.
word was a profanity.
What up, fucker?
And screaming it.
Last I checked, it's not illegal for me to say fuck yet.
It will be for YouTube.
Yeah, I better get Q to back this one up after we're done.
But now, one thing I was about to say was that my dad was a member of Lions World Services for the Blind for the longest time, but he eventually quit in protest because the national organization was regularly giving lots and lots of money to the Clinton Foundation.
Ooh.
And not just that, they were giving the money that was donated at the national level, and they tried to say that like that was a good thing. It's like, it's not the local chapter dues that are going, it's the national money. It's like the national money is the money that randos give because they think that that money's going to help deaf people.
Yeah, that's
Blind
pretty bad.
people.
So where's the link to your YouTube stream, buddy?
Cody, you think you can get it for him? It's the one, it's on my main channel. Oh, hey, Barwin.
I don't have your channel on YouTube.
Hey, what's up, Ben?
I haven't seen you stream in about 2 years. I've been watching your streams for about 2 years. Because half time you're doing it whenever I'm not around to watch or, stuff. And also, I apologize if you hear this cat purring. There's a cat that's decided to sleep on me.
Fine, man. It's all good. We got a purring cat. We can label it an ASMR video and get 1 million hits.
Alright, let me see if I can get you a stream link.
This one's name is Benny.
Anyway, so where
this
were
cat's name is Benny, and she loves being held by me whenever I'm at the computer.
Right on.
And only on her terms, because she's very much a diva like that.
Most cats tend to be.
Alright, so what else do we want to talk about?
Let's talk about how Tempor loves to scream his autism.
Oh no.
What's that? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you over the sound of absolutely cancer.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, I really don't know that I have a whole lot of other things. It's like I said, it's just a whole lot going on at once, so it's hard to be able to be like, I'm so excited about this one thing when you got like 15 things.
Yeah, I gotcha. Well, hey, we've been...
I got a million problems, but at least a bitch ain't one of them.
Well, we've been streamed for an hour. Do you want to stop here?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we can keep hanging out, but I'm good with ending the stream here, because it's probably just going to be like just a shit stream if we kept going. Because, I mean, you're playing Doom, I'm playing Doom, people in the chat are like, what the hell are these guys talking about? Feudalism. No, we signed up for a sci-fi show.
Are y'all talking about how feudalism is the only true method of maintaining Western civilization and all other methods are degenerate? I'm down with that.
Well, there we go. We got one convert.
No, it's just more a case of no one will adhere to the idea of a Caesar, because, man, dictatorship bad. In all seriousness, what the fuck's going on?
Just a stream.
What?
And like, I apologize because I'm kind of out of it too because I'm on so many pain meds.
The fuck is wrong with you? Did you get hooked on the fentanyl? What is wrong with you?
I did,
boy?
man. Fentanyl straight in my eyes. Nah, I threw my back out yesterday, so I'm on various opiates and anti-inflammatories.
Fun.
Oh no. You're part of the opioid crisis, aren't you?
I am now.
Oh no.
Cirsova, magazine of opioid addiction.
Yeah, I think that was a good time to stop. Thanks for joining us, guys. Sorry, Barwin, that you couldn't catch the whole stream, but...
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me on.
Till next time.